This video demonstrates how to properly install a root anvil into a Unite-A-Matic gauge for inspection on a helical gear. Once the gauge is powered on, if the digits on the display are blinking, press the clear button. That stops the digits from blinking and puts the DRO into operating mode. Once here, I'm going to use the knob on the right side, which is the locking knob, to unlock the positioning tailstock. Once that's unlocked, I'm going to then use the positioning knob on top of the gauge to retract the tailstock as far as I can for clearance to install the anvils. At this point, I'm now ready to loosen my thumb screws at the top of the tailstock and install my anvils carefully into each tailstock on the left and right side. Once the anvils are installed, I'm going to leave the thumb screws loose. At this point, I'm now ready to install my platen using the locating pins onto the gauge and also insert the part onto the platen. At this point, with the red handle lever down, I'm going to use the positioning knob at the top to start to bring those anvils into contact position with the gear. I'm going to eyeball the angle of that helix to allow those anvils to seat into that minor dimension of the helical gear. At this point, I'm going to zero my gauge, back up 300 thousandths, which is the gauging stroke. And that 300 thousandths is an approximate number. As long as we're in a couple thou, we're going to be okay. Now that the stroke is set, I'm going to raise the red handle lever, allow the anvils to contact with that helical gear, and now I'm going to gently handle the part, and I'm going to watch this number change to see how small that number gets. As that number gets smaller, what that means is that helical, or that root, is falling more into that helical tooth. Now it looks like the smallest I'm getting is 1 thou 9/10. So now that I'm at my smallest, I'm going to go ahead and lock my thumb screws into place. You'll notice that number changes, and that's because of the additional pressure exerted from the thumb screws onto the root anvils. At this point, I'm going to zero my gauge, retract the red handle lever, flip that lever once more, and I'm going to verify that I'm repeating on my zero. Once I've done that 2 or 3 times, I'm confident that I'm repeating. I know my gauge is set and that my anvils are installed properly. That's it for this instructional video. The next video to follow will be the proper setup procedure for the Unite-A-Matic gauge for the minor diameter check using root anvils.